the Bureau.
So the nominee choice reportedly sending shockwaves through Washington and getting strong reaction from Democrats and even some former Trump officials. Now, let's bring in Tony Kinnett. He is an investigative columnist with the Daily Signal, and Daniel Lippman is a White House and Washington reporter for Politico. Great to have you both on here. Daniel, the left is critical of this choice. They say that he's a Trump loyalist, that he lacks experience, yet Trump says quite the opposite, calling him a brilliant lawyer. And he's also the man who helped uncover the Russia hoax. What do you make of Kash Patel as the nominee for the FBI director?
Well, it's not a total surprise because Trump has wanted to put him at the FBI for a long time. He tried to make him deputy director of the FBI in his last term. And Attorney General Bill Barr said he wouldn't do that over my dead body. And so I think what Patel would bring is that focus on reforming the Bureau. But you also need to have trust among agents. And if you're going to say, hey, we're going to just all ship you out from D.C. when there's 7,000 FBI employees in the D.C. area, and he's promised to make the FBI building a museum to the deep state, then that gives concern to a lot of FBI agents who say, hey, is this the right person who trusts us and wants to let us do our jobs?
Yeah, that's interesting. And look, we played the sound bites, obviously, of pundits on MSNBC, so they shared their views. John Bolton also is no fan. And Tony, maybe that doesn't come as a surprise. So just wanted to get your thoughts on how the MAGA movement feels about this appointment here. Kash Patel set to head the FBI. Maybe they're okay with making the Hoover building a museum of the deep state.
So I think we need to take a little bit of a step back here and look at what a metaphor is. So to clarify, when Eliot Ness went to Chicago, and I'm not talking about the movie of The Untouchables, I'm talking about the actual situation when he went up against Al Capone, he said that he was going to turn Capone's business into a graveyard. And no, they didn't mean he was actually going to turn it into a graveyard. What Patel is doing, at least as far as his expose of the FBI and other federal agencies, is the corruption that has worked against Americans, against voters, and even against Congress. It's an accountability provider to censor social media posts, to interfere in state and federal elections, to politically prosecute individuals for going to school board meetings or for the crime of, oh no, being Catholic. And these are things that from the MAGA movement, which is, of course, that big tent coalition that Trump put together in this election, or if you're looking on the conservative or the populist sides of the aisle, what you're seeing is a desire for institutional reform and change. The system is full of rot. It's full of mold. And Kash Patel is an individual who has volunteered to go clean it out. And that's something Americans deeply desire.
That's a good point. I want to go back to Daniel here, and let's just talk real quickly. Hunter Biden getting this pardon here. Joe Biden finally making the move. He said that he wasn't going to do this. However, this is just days before Hunter Biden was set to be sentenced here in his criminal cases. Your thoughts? Did you expect that this was coming, Daniel?
I thought that he was going to do what he thought was right for his family. It is kind of shocking that he would say for months, hey, I'm not going to pardon him. And it undermines Democratic arguments about politicizing the Justice Department and respecting jury and judge verdicts when this type of thing happens. But I don't think the average American is going to vote based on Hunter Biden during the midterm elections when Biden is far from the ballot or the presidential elections. But it is another barrier broken given how wide this pardon is. It's for 10 or 11 years of potential crimes.
Yeah, which a lot of things can happen in between that time. Of course, the only charges were gun and tax related, although House Republicans wanted to take a closer look at those business dealings. As we well know and we've covered, some media chooses not to look into that. But Tony, we'll give you final thoughts, about 30 seconds. The decision to pardon Hunter Biden, what happens next?
Well, first, what happens next is Americans considering the media outlets that reported for ages that Biden said he wasn't going to pardon Hunter Biden, and that therefore there was some type of equitability among the law, among all people, because Hunter Biden was being prosecuted, former President Trump was being prosecuted, and now that that political prop is no longer needed, the story, at least from outlets like Politico, is, well, Republicans pounce on Hunter Biden being pardoned, or Republicans are saying that Joe Biden lied, even though, of course, the standard Americans remember remember, it was quite different a couple of months ago. So there's going to be that kind of reckoning. And as for special elections, I will remind everyone that Elise Stefanik's seat is going to become vacant, likely as she heads to be the ambassador of the UN. And in upstate New York, stories like this will play much more heavily to voters who have a clear example of what they will likely perceive as federal cronyism.
Daniel, you didn't write that headline about Republicans pounce, right?
No, he didn't. No.
Just want to make sure. All right, because we've got a friend from Politico here joining us on the panel. Either way, yes, a discussion about all media is fair game. So we appreciate everyone coming on this morning. Tony Kinnett, Daniel Lippman, thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was wondering if you're going to ask him about that.
He says he didn't write it, but it's out there.
It's
so
out there.
Keep that in mind.
Closing arguments about to get underway in the Daniel Penny subway chokehold trial. A live report outside the courthouse.